their learners as whole persons. Becoming a skillful understander means recognizing and accepting the struggle students face as they attempt to internalize another language. Watch how whole person learning is put into practice in the CLL demonstration lesson by my colleague, Bonnie Manel.
Fence. Can someone describe a fence for us? Okay, a fence divides one thing from another. Okay, sometimes we have a fence between two houses.
As a whole person, that means, you are part of a community. So you learn whatever in that community, okay? You learn the words and everything from that community, okay? So you think about you is not only a student, no, you are maybe, let's say, especially for adults, yeah? You are parents sometimes, you are working, let's say, in a cashier, in a supermarket. So whatever words or language you learn, okay?
Houses. Okay. We have a fence around the garden to keep the animals out. Is the fence always outside?
Yes.
How many people have a fence around their house?
That will be the same.
Okay, as I said, we're going to work with these now for pronunciation. Right? And we're going to do that in a way that's a little bit different perhaps than some of the ways that you've worked with pronunciation. You're going to be the ones who are saying the words, and I'm going to be the one who is repeating the words. And I'm going to be...
Clean.
There you go.
Fence is what?
Clean. Fence.
Yes? Why is it not D such as but
it used to be suggested to be, but they changed it. D suggested.
Okay, so it's the same. Okay? So it's based on what? Music and you relax and you calm, okay? And that's how they learn.
Relax.
Would you like to teach like this? To learn? Through this way? No? Excuse me?
Okay, so let's go to the bar, please.
How can we make it? Yeah? Should we?
We don't do music. Okay. Stepping out. Spinning around. I'm on the ground. I fall down.
Teaching
Korean, yeah? Maybe.
a foreign language by using TPR resembles the way that children acquire their first language. They listen, watch and imitate long before they start speaking themselves. This multi-sensory processing of language.
Okay, so total physical, so it's called physical because what? You do, yeah? You do action, so you imitate, okay? Response is what? Because you listen and you respond, okay? So that's, the name comes from that idea, okay?
Takes place through the simultaneous activation of the child's visual, auditory and kinesthetic senses. This helps the child to gradually understand new language in a holistic way. It's learning by doing in the best sense of the word.
Plane. 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 Car. Car. Plane. Car.
So they listen, they watch it, yeah? And then
Teddy.
they maybe sound or voice or it depends, yeah?
Car. Teddy.
Like what you did, like car,
Plane.
you drive a car.
Car. Teddy. Dog. Dog. Plane. Car. Teddy. Dog.
Now that the students have learned the key words that they're going to need, let's see how Herbert gets them to understand sentences by listening to instructions and imitating his actions.
Now, stand up, please. Stand up, please. Drive your car.
What's important here is that the teacher adapts his or her teaching pace to the student's pace of learning. In other words, the teacher introduces the sentences gradually and one after the other, and always repeats the previous sentence or sentences before introducing a new one. What's also important is that the teacher strictly keeps to the order the sentences were presented in. Next, we'll see the second phase, where Herbert gives the instructions, and it's important to remember that this is done in the same order as before. But this time, he doesn't give the students a model for the actions, so the children have to listen and carry out the instructions without seeing the teacher act them out. Being in a group gives them security, and they're learning from one another.
Now, I'm going to sit down. No, you don't sit down, you stand up. You stand up, please. Yes, okay. Now you do it. You do it. Fly your plane. Drive your car.
As you can see, for the students, action stories are fun, and at the same time, they're an important way of making the children feel that they can understand the target language from the very beginning.
The natural approach.
We discussed the natural approach when the last week, yeah?
Yeah, about the nature.
All the other theories, yeah, we discussed it last time.
Yeah.
Yes?
The natural approach method was developed by Tracy Terrell and Stephen Krashen. It is based on the language acquisition theory developed by Krashen. The native language should not be used in the classroom. A lot of vocabulary should be exposed to the student. A lot of activities should be developed. The natural approach is a method for beginners based on observation and interpretation on how a person acquires his or her first language. It rejects the formal organization of language. It is not based on grammar. It is based on communication. It emphasizes comprehensible and meaningful practice activities rather than production of grammatically perfect sentences. This method appeared in 1983 in a book called The Natural Approach, written by Tracy Terrell and Stephen Krashen. The natural approach works based on the use of language in communicative situations without recourse to the native language and without reference to grammatical analysis. The natural approach is based on the principles of naturalistic language learning in young children. There is an emphasis on exposure, on input. The central component of language is not grammar, it is communication. Language is viewed as a vehicle for communicating meanings and messages. Communication.
So it's more that's the way when I said you have to create a video, it will be like this, based on your idea, whatever you have, okay?
Oh, I think.
Maybe you want to make the videos outside, I don't know, make it outside maybe? It's okay, leave it. So when we discussed the community report last time, and that also, like in the Quran, it says, علمنا آدم الأسماء كلها. So it is what? The nature, yeah? From the vocabularies, okay? And sometimes what you do, like, you mix, as a teacher, you mix between all these what? Methods, okay?
Yeah.
So what are you?
Spanish.
repetition and memorization. Okay? The language, basically is a Spanish,
Introducing cartoon. What is content-based instruction? The teaching content is an educational project based on the introduction of a variety of topics from the academic disciplines or culture of the target language, using the medium of language. These discussions promote a proper social context in which communication occurs and, therefore, learning. Idea of the teaching content is that the prioritization of content on grammar in the second language classroom and the opportunity it offers students talking and thinking in a second language, using it in a relevant, authentic and significant environment, improves not only the competence of the students in that language, but also enriches their cognitive development. These studies indicate that learners show higher levels of activity, greater acceptance of language and subjects, spend more time and effort, and general improvement in attitude towards language and learning situations. First, the content-based learning creates a context in which it has significant communication, because the focus is on content and not language. The basic factor determining the planning of everything is not necessary to see communicative situation, but the conversation about academic subjects is itself a unique communicative situation. This connects to the second factor in content-based education. Opportunities to use the second language are more natural, more frequent, and lead to greater motivation and interest. Similarly, there comes a better learning because information based on content is easier to remember than the grammar-based information. Finally, the teaching content is centralized in students. Procedure. Development. There are many ways to approach creating a CBI lesson. This is one possible way. Preparation. Choose a subject of interest to students. Find 3 or 4 situable sources that deal with different aspects of the subject. This could be websites, reference books, audio or video lectures, or even real people. During the lesson, divide the class into small groups and assign each group a small research task and a source of information to use to help them fulfill the task. Then, once they have done their research, they form new groups with students that use other information sources and share and compare their information. There should be then some product as the end result of this sharing of information, which could take the form of a group report or presentation of some kind.
Models. Since the 1970s, there have been quite a few educational initiatives that emphasize the acquisition of a language through content. Some of them are language across the curriculum, immersion education, immigrant.
Okay, so did you understand this content? But now they will go to like history. Okay, for example, Fatma, you mentioned that you want to be a millionaire, yeah? Or billionaire, okay. For example, there is a term called passive income. Do you know what's passive income? Anyone know what's passive income? Okay, دخل سلبي. So what you might do, maybe because you know in the Western countries they know more about the passive income. So maybe you can go to the YouTube and try to find out more how can you do that, yeah, passive income, okay? So in the meanwhile, while you're doing this, okay, you are learning something for you, and also you are what? Learning some languages related to the business and all that, yeah? Okay, so that can be the content based, okay?
Helps students to develop valuable study.
Pronounce the language properly. You don't have to drill the language properly because. Welcome to practiceteaching.com. Welcome. Well, you start out speaking more, and I'd like to introduce to you today a way of organising your lesson into a logical sequence. I'm going to talk to you today about the PPP triangle. This is a method of organising or sequencing your lesson into 3 clear stages so that each stage flows nicely into the next stage and gives a sound pedagogical underpinning for your lesson because each of the stages builds on the previous stage. Let's talk about the PPP triangle. Now, the PPP triangle is this shape, this triangular or pyramid shape, because it represents the stages of the lesson in the sense that the teacher talking time is small at the beginning and the student talking time expands as the lesson progresses. So in the first stage, the first P is presentation. The teacher is presenting the target language. The teacher will be talking somewhat, but this teacher talking time will reduce as we go down the triangle. So the first P is presentation. The second P is practice. And the third P is production.
Have you taken this method? Yeah.
Let's talk about
You took it, Akra? Yeah. Which class? Okay. So that's the idea. It's PPP, okay? It means the presentation, the teacher presents, okay, and then practice, we do practice experience, and then what? Production. Produce whatever like you are learning, okay? And there are different like methods for teaching, okay? So what do you think, what are the new methodologies for teaching? Let's say if you have your own methodology of teaching, what will be that method? Yes?
Using technology?
Okay.
I don't know.
For me, my method would, I think, try to use technology less. Like give them activities that doesn't involve technology.
Okay. So you want them to move and
Yeah.
discuss and okay? Yes? Okay. Salama?
I think technology is fun, but it's time consuming. I don't know.
Okay.
Technology.
No, it's not. The question is general. Like what will be your method of teaching? teaching. Yes, Sarah?
Same,
What?
to be more authentic and
Okay. Related to more authentic learning and teaching. Okay. Good. Okay. So my way, my methods, it's a new method I'm working with. It's called video taped story workshop method. So what I do is what you are doing. Yeah. You are at the end. You're creating a video, but the video based on your experience. So it's like you are writing your story. Story workshop.
Yeah.
It's like you do the research or whatever, and that research based on real experience, based on authentic. Okay, and then you create the video at the end. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it depends. Okay. So that's what I will upload it. Okay, in Blackboard. So we have the term that we discussed. Okay. For example, the traditional grammar that we. What's the traditional grammar? It is what? You teach what?
Grammar.
Yeah, it is the translation. You teach what? Grammar and translation and all that, okay? And then structural linguistics. What does mean structure?
the form of it, traditional learning.
Yeah, it's more to the linguistics, yeah? For example, you teach, like, when we say policia, that you add this and why you add this, or maybe what, like, for example, in Philippine language. So what kind of grammars? Maybe it's different than the Arabic or English or the verb.
Example, in Philippines,
Yes.
in the language, when you describe say a green tree,
Okay.
you either say green tree or tree green.
So you have both.
No, the thing is, for English, it's subject, object, verb. Subject, verb, object.
Okay.
In Philippines, it's like verb, subject, object.
Okay. So let's say she is a beautiful girl. So how it will be in Philippines, the order?
The order would be,
Magandang babae siya.
no,
Yeah.
maganda siyang babae. So, beautiful, she, girl.
So you have the adjective first,
Yeah.
and then.
It depends
So you mean like I think what you said, like she, he, that's all will be at the end.
Yeah.
The person
The end and then
It can be in the end, it can be in the middle.
in the middle. Okay. So maybe what is important will be at the initial, maybe usually. Yeah. Like the most important information that you like. Let's say beautiful. So that's.
Yeah, that's the
maybe
first one.
The first one. Okay, they focus on the first one. Okay. Okay, and then we have like transformational, generative grammar. So what does mean transformational?
To transform.
Yeah, generative. Okay, grammar. So it was what the study of the surface structure and deep structure for language and the relationship between them. So what they started as as basic, and then why it's like it's more deep. Okay, that's what they mean. Okay. Do you know what's language variation? What's the mean variation?
Different kind of languages.
Okay, and register analysis. Do you know what register analysis? That's in linguistics. We call it register analysis. Register. Okay, so it is what the study of domain and field, a specific language. For example, legal English, social English, medical English, business English, scientific English. So it is what registers mean, like the language we use it in what? In medicine or like the context.
Field.
Yeah, the fields of the language. Okay, that's what it means register. Okay, register. Okay, and then we have functional, national, situational grammar. So what do you think? What is function? What does it mean function?
How it works.
Okay, notion, notional. What does it mean notion? Okay, situational, situation.
Situation.
Yeah. So it depends on where you put it, yeah? It can have maybe different meanings. So here, it is the study of language in social context and language as communication and use, okay? So it depends. Let's say we use like maybe a vocabulary in a specific social context. Let's say, think of an example. Okay. Past in the history, when we're the Second World War and the first, and before that also, like the UK invade what? Africa, okay? So in that time, okay, they had kind of racism, okay? So for example, even like for a cafe, they have it for white people and black people, okay? And also in that time, like, you know, the intermarriages between black and white is not accepted, okay, by law. So that's like, you know, whatever, like, in that time, if you think about that time, when we say like black people, okay, is it the same as we say it here now, this time, you think? Why?
Because the way everyone thinks is different now, and more equality, and
yeah, in that time, no, it means a lot of stuff, It is politics, it's what is about equality issues, is about, okay, and they were what? Advocating for, against that, okay? Okay, discourse analysis. What does it mean, discourse?
Isn't discourse like speaking?
Speech.
Yeah, the speech.
Yeah, it can be for speech or maybe for written.
Written.
Like, you know, when you have, let's say, a paragraph and you analyze that paragraph based, let's say, related to politics or maybe related to whatever you are analyzing, okay? So it depends. So it is what these